Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Lisa's Coloring Corner. Today I would like to color out of this Chibi Animal Girls for the Charming Chibis Color Along that I am co-hosting along with Samantha Oswald and Zoe Archer. And their YouTube channels will be listed below in the description, so go check them out. I was so kindly sent this by Sunlife Drawing. This is another Sunlife Drawing coloring book. This one has been out for quite a while, and I just did a flip through of this book and their brand new book, which is World of Cats. So when I can get to it, I will be doing a color and chat out of this book too. But I thought I would do a color along picture out of this book. I don't know how many of you guys have this book, seeing as how it has been out for a few years, but I thought we could color this little cutie pie. Let me get my stuff out of the way over here. Now these pictures are quite detailed. This one isn't as bad as some of the others, as you could see if you watched the flip through of it. But so I thought maybe I would do this on camera, and this still is going to take quite a while to do, so I am anticipating maybe a couple of parts to this color along picture. I thought what I would use were some markers, some water-based markers, my Staedtler Dual Tip Markers, which I really like, and my Shuttle Art Fineliners if we need some additional colors. Now, I got a really great tip a while back for all of these pencil cases that have these numerous zippers on them. I like these cases much better than the pencil cases that just have the one zipper. The ones that have just one zipper, I find that the very first one and the very back page, if you will, are very hard to get the pencils or markers out of. So I do like these multiple zipper cases better, but you got to keep unzipping all of them. Well, somebody gave me the trick. You put a ring, a binder ring, on all three of the zippers, and then you just pull them all at the same time. Is that not cool? Plus the fact they don't go underneath in here, because sometimes you got to try to dig them back out. They stay out, and then it's a little bit harder to close them, but they still all close together. So it goes much faster. I'm doing this with the book hanging in my hand, so it was a little bit harder. But if you have it down on the desk, it opens and closes quite easy, and it's much faster than doing each zipper by themselves. So I thought that was a neat trick. So this is what the Staedtler Dual Tips look like. The broader end is pretty similar to a Crayola Super Tip. You can get fine lines on the very tip, and yet on the side you can draw quite a bit or color quite a bit wider lines. Then the fine tip is not a super fine, like a fine liner. It is just, it's a little bit bigger than a fine liner, but yet you can get very little, into the little bitty details with that end. So I do like these. I will be linking the book down below, as well as these Staedtler Dual Tips, and then the fine liners that I have in this awesome pretty case. Iridescent purple. And some of you may have seen my demo of these, and these are your typical fine liners. They're 0.4 millimeter. They are by Shuttle Art, and there are 100 colors, and they are your typical fine liner tip. So if we need some additional colors, or I really need to get into some fine areas, we may break these out too. Now both of these sets of markers do not have numbers or colors on. So I made labels and I put each label on, and then I put a piece of Scotch tape over each one because these are triangular in shape, and even though those are round, I know these would not stay into place. I made these with my label maker. So it just works out much better to put a piece of Scotch tape around them and it stays put then. So let's get on with the coloring. Get out my handy dandy color charts and let us see what we want to start with. Okay, why don't we start with this cute little girl who is a mouse, I'm assuming, and we will do her skin first and then her hair. I like to start that way a lot of times because it is a larger area. I'm not going to use fine liners. So we're going to see if we can find possibly a skin tone color in here. What is number 12 like? She's going, well, she is a mouse, so she may have more pinkish skin, and so 12 and 13 look very, very similar. 13 is just a hair darker, so let's go with the light pink, and that's number 12. So, yeah, she will have pink skin. There's not really a really good flesh tone in this set, so we're going to use the broad tip. I love using these markers in color by number books. They work really, really well, and there are 72 colors in this set, so there are a nice variety of colors. Let me zoom you in and we shall get going. Now I am kind of shadowy, aren't I? I had my light on underneath my desk, but it seemed really, really bright. And so I turned that off and I turned my light on that's up on top of my desk. But yeah, I don't like how shadowy it is. I don't know if it would maybe help to turn on the other light up there. Let me see. Let me turn that on. A moment while we check that out. Let's see. Does that help or is that too bright? It is a little bright. Let me see if we can tone that down just a tad. Oh, wrong way. A little more. How's that? Yeah, she's going to be quite pink, isn't she? Oh well. Like I said, she is a mouse. Guess I could have made her gray, huh? We'll make her nose a little bit darker pink. Because there are some flesh tones in the Shuttle Art Fineliner set, but I really didn't want to go with the fine liners in this large of an area. I suppose I could have gotten out my Arteza Twi markers for this, which actually have that fine brush tip on, because I do believe in that 100 set there are some flesh tones. But like I said, she's a mouse, so she's going to be pink. They usually have kind of pinkish feet, don't they? I was going to record last night. Kind of glad I waited till today now because I got both of these Sunlife Drawing books in the mail today. So that kind of worked out good. Wasn't quite sure which Chibi book I was going to be coloring out of next for the Chibi color along, so this kind of just made up my mind for me. plus the fact I was pretty tired. Was going to be doing all my outside work today. Today being Saturday when I am recording this. Because yesterday it was supposed to rain. Well, then the front moved in much slower than what they had anticipated, so it did not rain until last night. So the day itself was gorgeous. Oh, it was so beautiful yesterday. Oh, so I got the lawn mowed. It was really hot in the sun. And I finally got in my front flower bed and sat out in there in the dirt. Got all dirty, but I figure, it doesn't matter. I'm all sweaty and yucky from mowing lawn anyhow, so might as well get that done too before I hop in the shower. So rather than going out to eat last night on a Friday night like we normally do, we went out to eat tonight. So yeah, doing all that yard work out there last night, or yesterday I should say. And then getting some other things done in the house. I was kind of beat. So, didn't get any recording done last night. I've really been slacking on recording lately. Okay, she's either a pink mouse or she's got a really, really bad sunburn. Alrighty, so there she is. Now, did I get her all? Oh, I think so. And what color does our mousy have? Well, you know what? Let's use a little bit darker of a pink, and I'm going to use the fine tip. We'll do her nose. Then I think we're going to put pink in her ear here. Now, should we do it just in there? I think I'll use the broader tip for it in there. With the tip of this end, you still, can get into some nice detail with just going on the very tip of the marker. Just like the Cradle of Super Tips. So that's why I really like these for color by numbers. Alrighty. So how is everybody doing? I just kind of jumped right into this. There. And I think we're going to make the rest of her ears gray. She's going to be a gray mouse. So what gray? Let's use a light gray. So let's go with 68. Works really well having these numbered and then having the color chart. You know me and my color charts. Okay. The detail that the illustrator put into this book is just incredible. Kind of like the World of Cats book and the World of Animal books. I don't know if all three are illustrated by the same artist, because they all have very similar styles. With the lighter line work and a lot of detail. Now, I suppose you could go in here, with your pencils and shade and do all that, but I like to straight color, especially with markers and gel pens, and maybe we'll get some gel pen in here too. I don't know. Let's go up on that tip. So yes, these are water-based. You do get some streaking, but I don't care about that. Once you get the color laid down and you look at the picture from farther away, you just notice the color anyhow. It's all good. When we went out to eat, we just went to Mosinee to eat, which is a neighboring town here. And well, let's quick decide on a hair color before I start jabbering about that. Let's make her, we'll give her brown hair, kind of a goldy brown. Let's go with 59. I'm gonna go with the fine liner. Whoops. Down here. So yeah, as we were driving to Mosinee and back, I noticed all the shane gardens, which those of you who aren't around here, shade gardens are also known as ginseng gardens, and I'm sure most of you have heard of ginseng. United States, and in particular Wisconsin, is known for its super duper high quality ginseng. We are the leaders in the world for our high quality ginseng. So back in the day, you would see ginseng gardens everywhere, and you immediately knew they were ginseng gardens because of, well, they originally had, and some of them still do, wooden, kind of long wooden lats for tops up on top of the ginseng garden, so that the burning sun wouldn't get down on the plants and burn them. And now, rather than them wooden lats, because they were hard to maintain, they broke a lot, they went with this plastic. It's kind of like black netting, sort of, only super duper heavy, durable type of black netting that lets the sun shine through yet, but yet not so much so that the sun can burn the plants, if that makes sense. And so, but of course, because this was strung out on cables across these huge ginseng gardens, they would have to be taken down every fall, because you couldn't let the snow on top of them or it would break them all in. So they are attached to a system of cables that are strung throughout the ginseng garden. I worked in the ginseng gardens from the summer of 6th grade all the way up through high school when I graduated. Matter of fact, the summer that I graduated high school, I still worked in the ginseng gardens. So yeah, in the spring is when the work started. You had to get, I think this is going to be here too. You had to get these plastic sheetings back out and all these S-hooks. You'd have like a bucket of the S-hooks, and keep them in your pocket or whatever, and you would get this metal tool, and you would take the sheeting that had rivets every so often and have to pull on these rivets with this tool you're given, stretch it all the way over to the cable, and then hook on an S-hook in the rivet, and then the other end went on the cable. And when you start out on the sheet, it's pretty easy. By the time you get to the end of the sheet, if they're on the least little bit crooked, which of course they would be because these netting sheets are just gigantic, you can't stretch them anymore, and us girls especially. So when we started having problems, the guys had to take over. And then even by the end of the sheets, I mean, it was just impossible to stretch them to the cable. So then they had to get twine out. Not sure what that is behind her. I guess we'll leave it for now. So yeah, they would have to take twine, baler twine, and tie it from the rivet to the cable. So yeah, that was the first job in the spring. Then all summer long, most of us girls, there were very few guys that would weed in the shade gardens. We would have to go down each row, and each row was, oh, I don't know, maybe 4 feet across, and it was kind of a mound. And then down each side was kind of like a little gutter, and that's where the tractor tires would go down when they would spray for weeds or fertilize and everything. And so you would kneel in these gutters and go down the rows and pull all the weeds out. So we would weed all summer long. Let's give her some blue shorts. 37. And so yeah, that was how us girls, me and my sisters, when we got old enough, that is how we earned our money in the summer. And then we saved up all our money and we bought all of our own school clothes so we could buy what we wanted, and it helped Mom out by not having to worry about buying all our summer clothes, because there were 6 of us. That was a lot of money, you know. She still had to spend a lot on just school supplies, so yeah, I mean, there were other things we bought too, but a lot of our hard-earned cash was for school clothes. But yeah, you would be kneeling in these gutters all day long, and you would think that knee pads would work really well in there, but they don't. I think this is part of the shorts. They didn't work at all because of the fact that as you moved and you were kneeling, those knee pads just had a tendency of slipping down off your knees, and it was just a pain. So you ended up kneeling just on your knees, and yeah, your knees had to get re-broke in at the beginning of every summer, and you'd go home with bruised knees, especially if you ended up kneeling on a rock. Ooh, that would hurt. So yep, that was an all summer long job. You'd finish up one garden, and sometimes you'd have to weed the next garden right away, and sometimes not. So you'd have like maybe a week off or so, and then she'd call and say, okay, you know, we need weeding in so-and-so, you know, this garden. We'll give her a light blue top. Yeah, let's go with 32. So yeah, that was my summer. was working in these ginseng gardens, and then in fall came the older ginseng beds, because ginseng is grown typically for 4 years before it's harvested, and it's the roots that they want. Sometimes even 5 years. But after they are like 2-3 years, they produce this seed, and of course they want this seed, because if they have to buy seed, it's extremely expensive when they want to plant a new garden. And these seeds are bright red. They're very pretty, and they form in little cluster balls. And so the fall job is picking seed. And it can be a little backbreaking, but it's not too bad. So you pick the seeds, you put them in this metal bucket that you carry with you, and when it's full, you walk up this long aisle to where this wagon is, and you dump it in these big baskets. Walk back down the aisle and continue on. But the worst part to me was picking roots. Bleh. Or picking rock in the spring. Don't like that job either. Because in the fall, when we would pick roots, it would be colder, especially in the morning. And they dig up the roots just like they dig potatoes. I don't know if any of you had seen how they dig potatoes, that machine. But it digs down underneath, brings them up, and it goes across over kind of like a shaker. So it shakes kind of out all the roots or potatoes and kind of shakes off some of the dirt. But of course some of the roots have tons of dirt on them yet, so you gotta get as much of the dirt off as possible before you throw it on this flatbed wagon. And when the wagon gets full, they bring in another wagon. That was backbreaking work, because you're bending over constantly. Same with rock picking. Ugh. When they would put up a new garden, you had to go through and pick rock. Ugh, I hated that one. Let's put some gold in for those dots. Pardon my arm. I do have to reach across over here to get to my markers. So yeah, that's what I did all summer long, from 6th grade up to the summer after I graduated. And driving past those ginseng gardens just brought back so many memories. Good and bad. I mean, it wasn't, bad money for, a school kid. We would spend it on this and that, and then, save money for school clothes. It was, we could buy the school clothes that we wanted. Mom didn't really limit us and say, no, you can't have that, or you can't have that. I'm going to make her eyebrows the same color as her hair. I mean, she of course wouldn't let us wear, bare belly shirts or anything, but we never even pushed for that. Back then, you didn't wear that to school. Or at least most kids didn't. Some would try to get away with stuff, super short shorts. Okay, let's give her blue eyes, of course. Let's go with 33. Nice bright blue. So yeah, that was part of my childhood growing up. It was interesting. You got to see the whole process of, the ginseng from beginning to end. And now the inside should be black, shouldn't it? And because our ginseng was so highly regarded, China would pay top dollar for our ginseng. So there were some markets, sorry Canadians, some were from Canada, that would advertise them to the Chinese as United States, and in particular Wisconsin ginseng, when it wasn't. And so yeah, because again, our ginseng is so highly regarded. Let's make him a bright green bug. We have some bugs around here that are like that. The only problem with ginseng is that, you know, they're huge gardens planted out in fields, and you can only plant ginseng on that plot of land once. Once you've planted ginseng on there for them 4 years, you cannot plant ginseng on there again. It evidently takes out some nutrient in the soil while them roots are growing for them 4 years that cannot be replaced for some reason. You know, like potassium and calcium and lime, all of that can be put back, you know, spread out on the field. But whatever is taken out from the ginseng being on there cannot be replaced. So the ginseng gardens around here are much less than what you used to see in years past, because ginseng has been on so much property around here already. So now they just use it for other crops, corn and a lot of soybean around here, mainly corn and soybeans. But some of those fields are huge too, especially the cornfields. And usually, you know, they always hear the knee-high by the 4th of July for the corn. Well, corn around here would usually be waist-high or better. But this year, no. With our horribly cold late spring and so wet, by the 4th of July, it was more ankle-high. Now that we're getting warmer and, you know, we haven't gotten tons of rain, it's been pretty much perfect. You know, every few days we'll get some rain, and then in between we'll get sun. Yeah, let's go with 50, a little bit darker. So it's, yeah, really been nice corn growing season. So it's really been popping up, especially with this hot, humid weather. Boy, that has really helped the corn, and it is just shooting up now. But I don't know if it's going to be able to make up for it or not. Oh, let's make that headlight green too. So yeah, farmers have been having some problems, but hopefully they can make up for it. I see some of them are baling hay now, so hopefully they'll get enough hay for winter, get enough straw from the oats and stuff to, you know, get enough oats to make their feed for their cattle over the winter and all that good stuff. For those of you city folk, you probably never knew all this stuff, right? Us country folk, we grew up with it. I do live in a small town now, but I grew up in the country, and my dad had not a full-fledged farm, whatever that means, right? He had what we call a hobby farm. He was a farmer wannabe. No. So we had like one milk cow for our own milk, And then he had a couple of heifers, young female cows that they're called heifers because they have not been bred yet, and so they have not had a calf, so they cannot give milk yet. So then he would rent a bull. Bet you didn't know you could do that. Yes, you rent a bull. And yeah, you know what for. I won't go there. And then once she's impregnated, then he would sell the pregnant heifer. And then you get more money for them. And then you would have piggies, and I don't remember the bunnies. When I was itty bitty, I guess we had rabbits, and I don't remember them. I wish I did. And then we had, oh gosh, what else did we have? We did have some baby calves though. Dad would keep some of the heifers after the babies were born, because I remember Dad mixing up the feed after they were weaned from the mom. He would mix up the feed in these pails and, you know, you'd always have to mix it with water, and you have to get all the lumps out, and you do that with your hand. And then it looked really weird because these metal pails had this big, look like a nipple coming from it, and then you would feed that to the calf when it was too young yet to drink out of the pail directly. And so sometimes once they were feeding out of the pail directly, oh, we got to do her tail gray too. Once they were feeding out of the pail directly, then sometimes we would feed them. And it was so cute. Those baby calves were just adorable. And then as they were drinking, sometimes they would buck their head. Almost knocked the pail out of our hands. But yeah, they were so cute. Or when the piggies would have babies. Oh, they were so cute. And we had chickens. I did not like butchering time though. Oh. Especially the beef. Oh God, no, 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 no. Could not stand when, you know, I understand you have to, you know, kill and provide food for your family, but oh, even as a child, I couldn't stand that part. Nope, nope, nope. Even butchering the chickens and stuff. Ugh. No, no, no. I didn't like that part at all. Thoroughly enjoyed the animals and really loved the babies because they were just so cute. But there was a reason for having everything. And when Dad would be milking, because of course you had to milk the cow by hand, especially when you only had the one cow, you know, and they didn't at that time have any of these automatic milking parlors and stuff that they have nowadays for the bigger farms. And there were so many times one of us kids would have to go out and hold her tail because in the barn, of course, there'd be a lot of flies. And so she would swish her tail back and forth to get the flies off her back. And that would end up hitting Dad in the face, and that would hurt. So we would have to stand there and hold her tail while Dad milked the cow. It's like, hum-de-dum-de-dum, this is real exciting. Oh, yes. Or if the cattle got out, the heifers and stuff got out of the fence. Oh, God, I hated that too. Oh, He'd give you a big long board or a big long branch and say, now stand there, and when they come at you, you know, shoo them this way or whatever. They scared me to death. I was so petrified that they were going to step on my feet. I would end up swerving away, and Dad would get so mad at us kids because we couldn't stand to stand there. Let's take the fine tip. Oh, my heavens. And when he would rent that bull, oh, God, that was so scary because the garden that Mom would plant would run up alongside the fenced-in area. And these bulls could be mean. And he'd sit there pawing the ground and just a-huffing at us if we'd be out in the garden weeding. I bet you I was off camera that whole while, wasn't I? And so it would scare us kids to death to be out in that garden helping Mom weed while that bull was over there. You could just see him getting through that fence, that electric fence, because, you know, electric fence ain't that strong. Bull could get through that really easily. So yeah, he would scare us to death. It's probably another reason we were so petrified of getting the heifers back in if they got out. It's like, no, 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 they're gonna step on my feet. Oh gosh, and sometimes they would go down by the neighbors, and oh man. If Dad said, you know, the heifers are out, it's like, no, no, no. No, please. I'm not here. I'm not here. Don't you remember, Dad? I'm at my friend's house. Lise, Amy, get down here. No, 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 Dad. Oh, boy. The joys of living on a farm sometimes. And all my friends lived on full-fledged farms. So they had to help with the chores and stuff too, with the, you know, actual milking and feeding of all the cattle and spreading straw, you know, bedding out underneath them, especially in wintertime when they couldn't go outside. Poor things are stuck in a barn all winter. Okay, what is this funky stuff coming up his shell? I don't know. What color should we make his shell? Let us see. What color are their shells? I gotta think. Are they like a light brownish color too? Wonder if I should make it a tan. It's a different tan than this. Maybe I'll make it all tan and then we'll go in here with some other color. I'm not sure what yet. So let's go with 57. I'm talking with my finger over my mouth. You probably didn't understand a word I said. Okay, and this is shingle under here, but what's that? That must be part of him, huh? Him. Could be a her. I don't know. Or maybe, is it the edge of a shingle? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the edge of a shingle, so we're going to leave it. Okay, let's see how this looks. See, so it is a very different brown tan, and it is darker on this paper than my color swatch paper because of this being Amazon paper, but yeah, it still should look okay. And then I'm going to go over those swirls with a darker color after this dries, because we don't want to pill the paper. And we all know how you can pill paper with watercolor markers if you go over it too much when it's wet. We're scrubbing one area too much. Need to color lightly. So we're just going to color his whole shell this color. Geez, anything else you need to know about farming? Sorry if that bored you guys to death. And of course we had lots of kitties and kittens, barn kitties, puppies. Oh, loved the kittens and puppies. I think the kittens the most. They're just so darn cute. My parents had a lot of lawn, so that was always our chores too, the kids, and we would divide up all the parts. Each kid had to take 2 parts and mow, and then we'd alternate, you know. Well, I had these 2 parts last time. Gotta make it fair, you know. So after my dad had passed, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, would go over with the riding lawnmower every once in a while and would mow all the lawn. And he would go out there in winter time. My dad had a big John Deere lawn tractor, so it had the lawnmower attachment and then it had a big snowblower attachment. So Dale would go over there and use that, to use the lawnmower in summer and the snowblower in winter, and make sure Mom was plowed out all the time, so she could get out and get groceries and go to church and stuff. And then when Mom passed a few years ago, I volunteered to mow all the lawn, and I wanted to mow it by hand because I loved mowing lawn even back then. And I did not want to use a rider. So yeah, about once every week and a half. This was, of course, before Heather had kids and I started babysitting. I would go out there and spend the day mowing lawn. There, I like him like that. So yeah, I loved being out there on the property. You know, I knew it was not going to be around much longer because we were going to be selling the place. And okay, we're going to let that dry. So we're going to go on to something else. Let's do the ladybugs. So let's go with number 9. It's kind of a yellowish red. So yeah, I wanted to spend as much time out there as I could. And being out there and, you know, listening to the birds and just mowing everything by hand. I'd come in every once in a while and I'd bring a big jug of my green tea, my iced green tea, which I still love when I'm mowing lawn. And I would chug a bunch of that and pack a lunch. I'd have lunch out there in the house and just quiet, all by myself. Go back out, mow some more. So yeah, that's how I spent my summer a few summers ago, and I loved it. But yeah, it was a lot of lawn to mow by hand. Especially when we had a really hot summer that one year, I remember. And ooh, doggy. Had to take a number of breaks then. Especially when you start getting dizzy and stuff. Yeah, you know it's time to take a break. This one time, didn't have a choice but to take a break because I was walking along, mowing just fine, and all of a sudden took a step and my leg collapsed right out from underneath me. And it cramped just all of a sudden. As I in mid-step, it cramped on me, and I stepped down, and all of a sudden my leg wasn't there. Down I went. So I knew if I was starting to cramp up like that, I had to get in the house right away and get some fluids in me, because I was probably starting to get sunstroke or heat stroke. I don't know what the difference is, but so yeah, that was not good. I guess I was pushing myself a little too hard that time. Sometimes when I'm mowing here too, I push it a little too hard, and then I start getting dizzy. And it's like, ooh, okay, yeah, we better take a break. Especially if it's really hot out. But it's like you start and you don't want to stop because you just want to get her done. Or, in my case, because I'm just having fun out there. Don't get me wrong, I do get tired. I can tell I haven't been used to mowing in the heat. The first few times, well, not the very first time, because I kind of have to get used to it again each summer, but after the first couple times of mowing, I was able to mow around the entire house and get all the lawn mowing done in one clip, not take a break. These past couple times when it's been pretty darn hot out, and you know the sun's super hot now in the summer versus what it was earlier in the year. Yeah, can't make it all the way around the house and get everything mowed all at once. So I'll mow about 2/3 of it or so, take a break, drink some iced green tea, cool off, rest my legs. That's about the only thing that gets really tired is my legs. And then go finish the rest. Drink some more iced green tea. So you can see, even with the fine tips, these color really nice, even in a little bit larger areas. Because they're not super fine, like the fine liners. I'm not quite sure what size these tips are. Those Shuttle Art Fineliners are, what did I say, 0.4 millimeter? I think some of the other ones are 0.3, aren't they? Excuse me. I cough sometimes because I have chronic sinusitis. My mother had the same problem. And not to get gross, but because of the drainage down the back of your throat, it can make you cough sometimes. But I don't know why. Sometimes I don't cough hardly all day long, but of course when I start recording, I have to start coughing. And sometimes when you start coughing, it makes your throat tickle, so then you can't quit, you know. So I do apologize for that. Now, is that the only two? I think so. Boy, we have not gotten very far on this, and it's already been almost an hour. Holy henna. Let's get the black back out. Oh yeah, my arm's in the way all the time. I don't like that. I'm gonna have to, next time I record, I'm gonna adjust this around a little. Okay, because they're in the way here. Because I have my Shuttle Art Fineliners over there. More on the right side here. But I should put them out of the way when I'm using the Staedtlers. Lisa, think about it. There, he's so cute. Maybe we'll even bring in some gel pen on this. I have to think about that. I'm not quite sure what them are. Are they supposed to be like a kind of an orangish red too? Or an orange? Let me know in the comments below, because I won't be coloring them till the next part. I'm not quite sure how long I'm going to be recording on this part. It's getting later at night for me, so we can go a while yet, because yeah, otherwise this is going to end up 4 parts long. I don't want to do another epic long one like my 4-hour one. I don't even know if I would get this done in 4 hours, so, because it is, like I said, quite detailed. Now the leaves though, and there's a lot of leaves, so that part's going to go a little bit faster. I use my hands so much, but then when I'm zoomed in, I'm more off camera and you only see my fingertips, so you have no idea what I'm doing. And I don't realize it until I look on the iPad. I'm like, they don't know what I'm doing anyhow. All right, so let's do these leaves. And I was thinking I would color the whole thing a lighter green rather than just going, you know, and taking the time to do every other one, because I thought I would variegate these. I think what I'm going to do is go over the entire thing with a lighter green and then go every other one with a darker green. How does that sound? Because I won't be able to blend on here and go like I like to do leaves with a dark and blend out to a light. Or smaller leaves, the base I have darker and blend out lighter. But I can only do that either a marker paper or with pencils. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll color in this session anyhow. We're going to color all of them a really bright or really light green. I guess I shouldn't have made that bug a bright green. But it does look like some of the bugs we have around here. So I think I'm going to go with 43, which is a really light green. And then I may go over every other one, maybe with this here green. Let's try it. And maybe off camera when I'm done with this part, I'm going to test it to see how dark this other green is going to look on top of the light green. If it gets too dark, I may have to go with something else. So, let's see, what number did I use on that? 45. So I'm going to go with 44. Okay. Because the other ones are almost yellow. I mean, they're really pale and almost more on the yellow side than anything else. So I don't want to use that. So one of the problems with these first books, and I know they, you know, a lot of them, the color by number and the one color books don't go into the bindings. These kind do. I can use the big tip on this part. So we're just going to go straight down like that and then come over So here's like a really light chartreuse color, or lime green almost, right? Not quite as bright. Well, I guess it is. So these are going to be pretty bright leaves, but I think by putting the darker green on them, it's going to tone down the brightness somewhat. And yeah, by using the side of these markers, you really can get in the bigger areas fast. And again, that's why I like these. And I think they were pretty reasonable. And with the Staedtler name, you know they're pretty good. Those Staedtler 326s are awesome. If anybody watches Zoe, you know they are her go-to marker. She will always get out her Staedtler 326s. So I just had to try them, and they are awesome. They are really, really good. And they lay down pretty colors so nicely. Really bright, vibrant colors, kind of like these. It almost seems like it's the same ink formula in both pens. But those, the Staedtler 326s, I think, boy, is it 36 colors? I think it's half the size as this pack. Because again, these come in 72. When I picked these markers out to do this picture in, I was thinking they had a brush tip and the fine tip. And then I popped the end off. I'm like, oh, that isn't a brush tip. And then I remembered when I used these for a color by number that it was like the Crayola tips. Crayola super tips. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave it for this session. Is I will get all of these leaves done in the bright green so that it has a chance to dry. Well, maybe because this snail now is dried, we'll go in here with some darker brown, I think, and do the swirls. We'll do that yet tonight. Aren't these pictures just the cutest though? In that world of cats, oh, if you're a cat lover, and especially if you like more detailed pictures. I am typically not a detailed picture person, but sometimes I am in the mood for a more detailed kind of picture, and I guess that probably surprises a lot of you, because you know how I love my detailed pattern books. But very detailed ones I have to be in the mood for. You know, sometimes I'll take the medium detailed ones, or sometimes the very simple ones. Same with the mandalas. Sometimes I'll be in the, you know, the mood for a more detailed one. I'm sure everybody's like that. Boy, on camera this looks like it's neon green, and it's not in real life. It's just a lime green. It's not glow in the dark green like it looks on my iPad. So I don't know if it's recording that way. I'm assuming so. I'm going to take a quick break. I can feel a coughing spell coming on, so I will be right back. Okay, I feel better. Do you feel better? Alrighty, let's do this big whopper of a leaf. Now we got to go around the bug this time. So I don't know if I got to get out the fine tip or not, because like I said, you can get into pretty fine areas with the tip of this one, so we may just be able to do that. Like I said, I'm recording this on a Saturday night. So how is everybody's weekend going? Mine's been going very nice. Did you guys have a long weekend, or did you only get Thursday off and not Friday? They actually gave Bob Thursday and Friday off, so he got a nice long weekend too. Of course, all of Friday was not paid, but they got to take it off. I told him to use a vacation day then for it. He never takes and uses up his vacation anyhow. I told him one of these weeks you should just take off when it's nice out yet, you know. Just rest and relax, or, you know, get some stuff done that you want to get done, or whatever you want to do. Go lay down, take a nap. He still sometimes can get pretty tuckered out. I have been so tired today, and I think it's because I went to bed early last night, because I was so tired last night, like I said, with being outside so much, I think, with the lawn mowing and the weeding, and so didn't feel like coloring even, and didn't even feel like watching YouTube and catching up on ColorTube. There are a number of them I want to catch up on yet tonight after I'm done recording this, and I go sit in my chair and work on the design I'm coloring. So yeah, I kind of went to bed early, and Bob took Bella to bed with him. Most of the time on the weekends when he doesn't have to get up for work, he'll take Bella to bed with him. So I don't have to get up super early with her. And then I sleep in a little bit. Well, today I slept in until almost 8 o'clock. I never sleep that late. So I got over 8 hours of sleep, which is very unusual for me. Actually, I got over 8 hours of sleep. Holy cow. Guess I don't have to be quite as careful around that bug as I thought, because this is a lighter color. So I think my body was just not used to getting that much sleep. So it made me even tireder. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like Bob says, when he gets overtired, he can't sleep. He's more awake then. So that doesn't make sense. Just like he says, when he gets too hungry, he gets over hungry, then he's not hungry. He said that doesn't make sense. How can you not feel like eating if you're over hungry? You'd think you'd be starving and want to devour everything in sight. And I'm off camera again. Jeez. Boy, this color actually is not streaking a whole lot. I'm surprised. Not as much as the others anyhow. And it's bigger areas. So it looks like this picture is going to probably be 3 parts long. Well, it depends. It depends how long we go. Now, this leaf must go all the way over, right? Yeah. So we'll go in there. Then we have that branch coming down, so we got to go around that. Just kind of talking to myself out loud here. Never mind me. Oh, I bent up my corner. Oops. Darn, arms get in the way. It's a good thing we have them though, alright? Now, these two, this branch is going to be a darker color than this green, so I guess it's not that important if I go over it a little bit. There, that was pretty good. Pictures look so cool once you start getting color down on them. They're so cute to begin with when they're black and white, but yeah, you start getting color on them and they really come to life, don't they? Guess that's true of any picture. Bet you it's really exciting seeing me color these, huh? You're not watching me anyhow. You're coloring or diamond painting or crafting or cooking or doing laundry. All those fun chores. Can't really be listening to an audiobook or anything like that, but not too easy watching a movie on TV either while you're watching a video. You kind of miss half of both things. It's like, what was that? When you're watching the YouTube video, and then what was that on the movie? Doesn't work good. I know. You're saying, of course not, Lisa. Duh. There's not a whole lot on TV tonight anyhow. I want to. Maybe we should have done that tonight. Because we keep putting it off. The new Annabelle is in theaters. And all of you guys out there that like spooky horror movies like I do probably know that, and many of you maybe seen it already. Because I absolutely loved the first Annabelle. But I don't think I actually got to see the second Annabelle. And I have a tendency, I mean, the first Annabelle came out a number of years ago. I think the time in between the Annabelle movies was 2 years. So I think the first one was in 2015. I think the second one was 2017. And now 2019 is the third one. So I don't think I seen the first or the second one, and I forgot many of the things that happened in the first one. That's one of the problems that I have with my memory is some short-term but some long-term memory problems. And so if I do read a book or I watch a movie, I don't retain it all. Like my kids, they can remember the littlest, minutest detail of a movie. And I'm like, how do you remember all that? I don't know. Maybe when I was younger I could too. I don't know. It's hell getting old, right? Just like needing readers. Oh yeah, I got my new glasses in. I don't know if you've seen my past color and chat where I was talking about getting new lenses. I was going to use the same frames. Well, first off, I went and got my eyes checked because I wanted a current prescription. Because I had gotten a tip from a subscriber on a cheap place online to get glasses from. So I had been putting off getting new glasses because the other ones I had cost me over $200. But I wanted a good set of readers. I don't have to wear glasses except, you know, when I'm doing close-up work. Because again, it's hell getting old. And so yeah, I paid that much for my readers because I wanted good ones for a change rather than just cheapy Walmart ones or even dollar store ones. And I did not want to pay that again, but my lenses were so scratched, and so I needed new ones so bad. And I thought, well, I'll just go in, have my eyes checked because it was past due for that too, and then get my current prescription and then order the glasses online. Well, turns out my insurance, because I have new insurance since I got the glasses the first time, turns out my insurance covered the entire eye exam except for a $20 copay. And then the glasses only came to like 75 bucks. Then as she was ringing it up, well, they only cost 75 bucks because my insurance allotted me $100 towards the purchase of a pair of glasses. So yeah, instead of 175, they were only 75 bucks. And I'm like, wow, okay. Because that wasn't much cheaper. I mean, that wasn't much more than if I would have ordered them online. Now granted, I was using the same frames, whereas online I would have gotten new frames, but there's nothing wrong with these frames, so not a biggie there. As she was ringing it up, she goes, oh, and now when I look at your insurance again, which is with Security Health, we have a contract with them, and you get an additional $20 off, which we pass on to our customers. So they only cost me like 55 bucks. I was ecstatic. I'm like, wow. So that means through there it was cheaper than if I would have ordered them online. So yeah, on Thursday I picked up my lenses, and oh yes, it's so nice. Nice. Alright, what color are we gonna go over this with? Let's go with 59. I don't want to go too dark because we already have the tan on here. So we'll go with the fine tip in here. Yeah, that should look okay. Now, because even though it's dried, there is already water-based ink on here, so I'm going very lightly because I don't want to peel the paper. But to go around these teeny areas would have just been too hard. Just much easier going over the top. There, I like how that looks. Suppose I could have maybe done this in gel pen, but you don't typically see a sparkly snail, so didn't want to do that yet. Maybe we will do a little bit more. Maybe we'll start with the darker green on the leaves up there because those have dried already. And get some of that done yet on this video. This part, I should say. Now, tomorrow being Sunday, I do have some other chores to get done, but besides that, I am bound and determined to take one of my next Copic classes. So, I probably will not be recording the next part of this coloring chat tomorrow. So hopefully Monday, if I don't get to it Monday morning, ugh, I don't want to think about Monday morning. I'll get to it Monday night. And maybe I won't feel like recording a long session. Maybe we'll just do a short session. And then I would combine a couple videos into one, so that each part of coloring this picture maybe, be anywhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours. I think we'll color this part in. Oh, he's looking so cute. Wonder if I should color these in too. I think I'm gonna. Now that I got them all outlined. Because there's no, up here it's all filled in and there was nothing down here, so. Alrighty. Let's follow this out. You can hear Bella snoring behind me. She always has to follow me in here when I'm recording. Okay, you can hardly see these outlines. Alrighty, how does that look? Wonder if I should do the same thing on just these. I think I'm gonna, these little lines, make them stand out a little bit. I think Bob's sleeping in the other room too. I asked him if he was going to stay up for a while, because otherwise I was going to, when I had paused there for a little bit, because otherwise I would have waited to start back up so I could say goodnight to him, but no, he said he was staying up for a little bit. But now I think I hear him sleeping in the other room. Oh, silly guy. He has a tendency of falling asleep in the chair, and then it's, for anybody that's done it, you know how hard then it is to get up and get your butt into bed. I have done it myself. Okay, so now we have these bright green leaves, and I think I'm going to go over them with 49. See how this corner is kind of curling up because of this water-based marker up here? Let's fold it down under for a little bit. There, that's a little better. Kind of like when you use watercolors too, how your paper can fold up. Okay, what number did I say? Oh yeah, 49. Yep, good memory, but it's kind of short. Okay, I'm going to use the fine tip for this. Let me get a sip of mistletoe. Okay. And I think we'll start at the tip. You know, this is supposed to be like a darker lime, but now on top of this, it looks like a regular green, and so that's okay though. I think they go together pretty good. Now again, I'm going to color really lightly over the top of this green so we don't peel the paper even though it's dry. How long was that first session of recording before I paused? I know it was over an hour, but I don't think it was much over an hour. So we're probably at like an hour and a half now for this part. So that's not bad. We'll go for a while then. Okay, I think I will just do one side so I'm not shifting you guys back and forth. Do one side and then do the other. Yeah, I like how this looks. Maybe it would look a little better if I would use the broader tip. Oh, this ain't too bad though, I guess. It's a little bit easier to control with the fine liner here. Can stay in the lines easier. Yeah, I'm barely touching the paper. Okay, now we go into the spine. Which on pictures like this doesn't bother me as much as if you have double-sided pictures like Johanna Basford's, Hannah Carlson's, and the picture goes into the spine, where you have to go from one side to the other, or Kirby Rosanna's books. Then it gets more difficult to try to make it look nice and cohesive. I think that's the only gripe, you know, or the main gripe, I should say, about those books that people have is that, you know, you like your coloring books to be single-sided. You know, especially those really popular books that you would like to be able to use, you know, maybe your alcohol markers on, or some other coloring medium that doesn't really work on two-sided pages. Although those books typically have, you know, nicer paper than Amazon paper, so you can usually use, you know, like acrylic paints and washes and watercolors and things like that. May curl your page a little bit. Watercolors, you know, you can't use tons of water. It's not watercolor paper. I suppose you could X-Acto it out and copy it onto watercolor paper though. And I think some people do that, or copy it on the marker paper. I would just try to make a copy of it with it in my book, but again, with those pictures going into the spine, it's pretty much impossible to do that. Copy it onto like marker paper, you know, with it staying in the book. Let's see, so let's do this. You know, I guess there's goods and bads about having the double-sided books. You know, yes, they can fit more pictures in a book and not have it so thick and keep the cost down a little. But I think the fact that, you know, I think we would much rather have it single-sided. I think that far outweighs, the cons outweigh the pros of double-sided pages. Am I right? Do I hear a hallelujah? Or maybe there are those of you who don't buy those books and doesn't pertain to you. Not everybody likes Johanna's books or Hannah Carlson. Oh, yes, that may be true. I know who cannot like those books. After all, Johanna started the craze. She started it all. Yes, there were coloring books out there before her Secret Garden book, but they were mainly Dover, you know, coloring books. I have a number of them in my stash yet from when I colored years ago. And I still have them. And I got my mom into coloring too. So for her birthday or for Christmas, I would get her a few more coloring books. I got her a big set of colored pencils and markers. And when she passed, I got all her coloring books and her coloring materials, and so I have all her colored pictures. Some of the books she had pretty much finished, like the Audubon birds. She just loved coloring those birds. Birds have always been her thing. She knew them all. But she really colored in the other books, so she got into the coloring. I thought that was so neat. Nice, relaxing pastime for her. She was pretty good, too. I mean, she didn't do any of the blending or, you know, shading. She just straight colored, you know, with the pencils. I think more of the pencils than the markers. Especially on the birds. I remember that. So, yeah, I have all her coloring books now. And of course, I won't color in them. I want to leave them just the way they are. Alrighty. I guess we'll get more done on these leaves than I thought. Okay. I have to finish rendering and uploading a video yet tonight. that I did earlier today, and that was some flip throughs of a coloring book haul. I'm not sure which video you're going to see first, this one or that one. Not sure. Okay, let's go this way. Well, maybe we'll just go ahead and finish these leaves and then we'll stop for tonight. I promise. Thought you said that last time. Let's see if I have any stories about Maddie. Because I had gotten so many comments from you guys how much you loved the stories I told about Maddie. I thought that was so nice of you. I said, oh, I thought maybe you guys were getting sick and tired of hearing Grandma talk about her grandkids. But, you know, having a 3-year-old in the house all day long, every day, you really get some good stories to tell. Oh, like the turtle when she's sitting on the toilet. Ah, God, I still gotta laugh so hard at that one. I'm a turtle. Oh, good. You gotta wonder where their little minds go, right? Or when I made the sound of the mourning dove going hoo, hoo, hoo. No, Grandma, I will go hoo, hoo. I will go hoo, hoo. I go, oh, you're right. I said, where did you learn that from? Oh, she's such a smarty pants. Now, this shade green, which is supposed to be totally different than that bug, looks very similar. And again, this green looks really neon in the camera. As I look at it, I should say, on the iPad. So I am assuming it's recording that way because I do have the lights on. And they are shining down on my desk. So hopefully the next part that I record, hopefully I won't have to have the lights on, and you can see that I am in fact telling the truth, and these are not neon greens. I never did finish about my Annabelle story. Got sidetracked. So yeah, I want to rewatch Annabelle 1. Bob insists he did not see Annabelle 1, and I could have swore it was him that I watched it with, but could have been my daughter Mallory because she is a spooky movie nut just like me. For all I know, we could have went to the movie theaters to watch it. But I don't think either one of us seen Annabelle 2. And I would like to watch both of them before we see Annabelle 3. And I kind of would like to go to the theaters for that. Everything's better on the big screen, right? And so I was looking for a place to rent them. And now I see you can rent both of them from Amazon Prime. But as I explained in my previous color and chat, my smart TV is not a college graduate. It's only a high school graduate, and so it's not as smart. And I cannot get Amazon Prime on there. So that option's out. I'm like, grrr. Took me a while to figure that out, but by doing a lot of Google searching, I finally found out my smart TV is only half smart. And you cannot download apps on it. No wonder it was a cheaper TV. It's an Element. I don't know if any of you have heard. I had never heard of an Element TV before. We bought this one at Walmart. Because, you know, it was a 1080p. It, you know, had this, had that, had USB ports. So I thought, well, okay. Yeah, little did I know. Let's go this way. So then I seen you could rent both of them off of YouTube, which I didn't even know YouTube rented movies. But I should know YouTube has everything, just like Amazon and eBay. Surprised you, maybe you can. I was just going to say, surprised you can't rent stuff off of eBay. Maybe you can. So I looked into possibly renting them off of YouTube. And I do actually have YouTube installed, pre-installed on this half smart TV. So I did find it when I looked for it on YouTube on my phone, and I can also transmit from my phone, at least I'm supposed to be able to, to the TV, because I went to the settings on the TV and I paired it with my phone. You had to type in this code that the TV gave you, you know, on your phone. And so my phone is paired with the TV. So I just got to figure out, you know, either, because I had to, on YouTube, I had to log in with my Lisa's Coloring Corner account, because that's the one I use evidently the most on YouTube. And so then I had to grant access and blah, 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 blah. So now I want to figure out if I should use the YouTube app on the TV to try to rent them on YouTube, or if I rent them on my phone and transmit them to the TV. Which one works better? And so I want to just experiment and just bring up a YouTube video of some sort, either my own or just one generic one, and then see if I can either bring that up on the YouTube app on the TV, or, you know, transmit from my phone. What works better? And I figure as long as I can get that part working, then I should be able to rent them. So I haven't putzed with it yet, so we have not rented them yet. So we have not seen parts 1 and 2 yet. So we should not go to the theaters yet and watch part 3. A lot of souls. My finger's in the way as I'm doing this. Trying to get into the spine as best I can, so I'm trying to keep the book open. So sorry. Now, here we go off the edge. Oh, our leaves looking... Oh, I didn't do the top part of that leaf. Gotta go back and fix that. Thought this was going too fast. And I'm off camera again. Boy, I'm not doing good tonight. I do apologize, deeply apologize for the quality of those flip-through videos that I recorded earlier. The audio was fine. The video part was horrible. I don't think I was out of focus, and I don't know if it's because of the thin, fine lines in these books and, you know, all the lines like that, but it's like these lines were like moving and it just was not clear. You really had a hard time seeing what the heck I was talking about because it was hard to see the pictures when after I uploaded it, or no, it was already made, but I had not uploaded it yet. I had rendered it and saved it, but I had taken all those steps already, and I'm like, no, I am uploading it as is, especially the coloring book haul flip throughs, because that was quite a bit longer than the flip throughs of these two books. So that original, that flip through of these two Sunlife Drawing books that I just received they are in that video is up on my channel already. And then the other flip throughs of the coloring book haul should be up tomorrow. So yeah, that'll be up before this one. That one probably will go up in the morning. This one may go up tomorrow yet, because tomorrow is Sunday. Getting in the spine here, so you might not be able to see it all. Not sure what this is down here, but we're gonna make it leaf. All right, let's go back up and do this guy that we forgot. Shame on you. Shouldn't be forgetting things like that. Told you I forget a lot of stuff. Even in coloring. Alrighty. Oh, all them nice lines I put in there. Yeah, that was really a lot of work. They're all going to be covered up. You know, this is the the trick to using those Arteza toy markers. It's pretty hard to do any coloring whatsoever with the fine tip end. Love, love, love the brush tip. It's got to be one of my favorite brush tips out of all my watercolor markers, pens. But that fine tip, way too scratchy for coloring. And it is so super duper fine that it's pretty much impossible to get color down evenly. I did use it on one color by number picture because there were some areas that were so super duper tiny. Even with the tip of the brush end, you can pretty much get into just about anything with the brush tip on those Arteza toy markers. I mean, they are awesome. But even the brush tip, the tip of the brush, because they're not real brush, you know, they are felt tip, which I prefer. I just don't have as much control over a bristle real brush pen. But there were some areas in this picture. They were in the butterflies, I believe, yeah, that I did actually go with the super duper fine, but like I'm coloring here, super lightly over the page, and then you can kind of color with those, but again, it makes such a thin line. It is unbelievable. But if you go really light, not hardly touching the paper, they do color a little bit better, but they are so scratchy. They work great for writing. So if you want to use them in your bullet journaling or, you know, things like that, I can see where they would work great. You know, you have 100 colors to pick from, or 48 if you get the 48 pack. But yeah, for coloring, not so good. I have no idea what the size of that tip is, but it's much smaller than, say, even the Shuttle Art or your typical fine liners that are, you know, 0.3 and 0.4. These Shuttle Art ones are 0.4 millimeter. Those got to be at like a 0.2 at the largest, at the biggest. I should look that up. If it gives that info, I'm not sure. But yeah, they are definitely fine liners. Gives new meaning to the term fine liners. Sharpies and Bics have fine point and ultra fine point. Well, the ultra fine point is as fine as water-based fine tip. If that makes any sense whatsoever. So the end of those twine markers of that fine tip would have to be called triple fine. ultra fine. Yeah. Super duper fine. Okay, that's enough. That's what I kept saying. That's what I kept calling them, right? Super duper fine. I don't know where that phrase ever came from. Maybe that's just a Wisconsin thing. It's kind of funny how each area of the world and even each section of the United States has their own dialect, or own terms. Yaderhay. Although that's more North Dakota, Fargo. They say the Yaderhay. But we do have the Yoopers. Around deer hunting season, we have a song called the 30-Point Buck. Oh my god, it's so funny. We got these couple of guys sitting around drinking beer and belching during the song. It's about this guy catching this. Well, he didn't catch it. He didn't shoot it. He missed it. A 30-point buck. Which, yeah, if anybody ever seen a 30-point buck, I think they'd fall over and wouldn't be able to shoot it because they'd pass out. I don't know if there's a deer ever that big. That would be quite the rack. I don't know how that deer would hold up its head. It would be rather impossible. There have been some big ones shot around here during deer hunting season, but never close to a 30-pointer. I think there was like a 18 or even maybe a 20-pointer. I don't know. But yeah, not a 30-pointer. Or we have I think actually it's by the same guys, the Yoopers. We have a Packer song that They like to play when on their WIFC radio station when we play the Bears because Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers have such a rivalry going, and that dates back to, oh gosh, when did the football start here? Because the Packers were in the first and second Super Bowl. So, I don't know, but anyhow, yeah, the rivalry has been going on from the start. So, there's a Packer song out there called "The Bears Still Suck, the Bears Still Suck." Not a very nice song, I know. And I apologize deeply to any Chicago Bear fans out there. But you have to admit, we do have a rivalry going, and sometimes we win and sometimes you guys win. So, all is good in the world. I'm sure you guys make fun of us Packers too. Us cheeseheads. Some people take the rivalry a little bit too far, as in all sports. Good heavens, there was a story on the news, I think it was last week. And mind you, this was at a Little League game. And I'm not even sure, it wasn't even something that big of a deal that happened on the baseball diamond, the softball. And the kids were okay with it. They're not the ones who got mad. It was the parents that came tearing out of the stands and started going after each other and hitting and punching. And it's like, oh my heavens, you parents are supposed to be role models for your kids, and the kids are acting more like adults than the parents. It was horrible. It's like it is a kid's game. What are you teaching them? It was awful. And you hear that. You know, this wasn't the only time that kind of thing has happened. It's like, you parents, simmer down. I know you get invested into their games, but wow. Let's leave emotion out of it. I think they thought there was a bad call, and maybe it was a bad call. Who knows? But doesn't justify swinging. I'm like, oh wow. Whoops, that one's got to be colored in, Lisa. So yeah, you hear such stupid stories like that. It's like, grow up. Your kids are more grown up than you are. Am I right? Of course I am. Not. There are people out there who think they're always right, but I say it jokingly, because I know I'm not always right. Nobody in the world is always right. Why did I get into that? I am really going off on all kinds of different subjects tonight, boy. One thing kind of just leads into another. But I guess that's what coloring chats are for, right? Just jabbering. My favorite kind of videos to listen to. What's going on in your world? Anything exciting? As you can tell, my world is not that thrilling. Nothing too exciting. Probably my biggest news will be when my daughter has her baby. She still thinks she's going to have it early, but a lot of moms think that. I think it's just wishful thinking on their part, especially now that it's getting hotter out. Although she seems to be handling it pretty good. She's been bigger than a house for a while already. That wasn't very nice, Mom. Every once in a while I'll pat her tummy and I'll say, getting pretty big there, Heather. You better quit eating. Oh, boy. Oh, the days, the days. I never minded being pregnant because I didn't get overly sick in the beginning. I would just, not throwing up sick. I would get, a little nauseous and stuff for a while, and I'd have to kind of lay down and have some soda crackers or something to settle my tummy, but nothing real bad. So, and I always felt good during my pregnancies and stuff. So there we go, folks. Let me get this one back. Okay, yeah, we're probably at about 2 hours for this color and chat then. This color along. How is she looking? We still have quite a bit to do, but I think the shingles will go faster. This wood, the curtains, so, and this is all tree back behind her, which, like the snail, I'm going to go over with one color of brown, then come through with the lines with a darker color. So the tree's going to go pretty fast too. And do let me know what these are and what color they should be. Are they dark red? Are they orange? Are they orange red? Unless they're blueberries. Are they supposed to be blue? I know blueberries have the end like that, but they're not that big. Well, yeah, maybe they are. Because these are ladybugs. Are they blueberries? Just thought of that. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it here for now. I might go in her tail too next time. I just seen that. And I might make every other section a darker gray. Or just go over it again with this gray to make it darker. It's another nice thing about markers. Both water-based and alcohol. If you go back over the same section with the same color, it becomes a shade darker. Alrighty, so I'm going to leave it here. I hope you enjoyed this first part. And again, I'm not quite sure yet when I will be recording the second part. Within the next day or two. Not quite sure when I get this uploaded. I'm going to try to render it and do all of that yet tonight. Doubt I will get it uploaded to YouTube yet tonight, but yeah, so either tomorrow or Monday we will get this uploaded. So alrighty, my phone just went into low battery mode, so that was perfect timing, wasn't it? So until next time, happy coloring. Bye guys.